Right, hi guys. Slightly different setup again. We're still trying to work out on lighting and audio, but we're getting there. We'll see who can get the joke. 2x2. Anyway, so we have here a Fire Angel Y-Safe fire alarm type thing. So this goes on the wall somewhere. As you can see, we've got keyhole mounts on there, and this goes under your pillow. And this is an incredibly aggressive vibrator. Some would even say industrial level, or Hitachi level. Enough of that. So yeah, I don't know if this is the complete system. There are hints. We've got a Wi-Fi button or wireless button on the back here that hints this might be part of a system rather than just complete. I also don't see any particular... Oh, there are screws under there. So what we're going to do is tear this apart, have a look, see what's in here, whether this is a whole thing and that, and see how it works, and yeah, just see what's in here. So let's go. So I've changed the microphone setup slightly as well, so hopefully that's better for you. So we've got this part here, which goes under your pillow. The idea being this is for people that are hard of hearing, and I have to say with that under your pillow, I fail to see how you could sleep through that. We've got a power supply, we've got a battery backup. Amazingly, for a battery installed 5 years ago almost, that battery still works. Nickel metal hydride 8.4 volts. That's a little stack of batteries in there, so I would guess that possibly this was originally designed for something like a rechargeable PP3. Sorry, my centre of my bench has moved with the new setup, so I'm still trying to get things worked out. So what we'll do is we'll pull this apart. We'll have a quick look in here. I'm not expecting anything amazing in here. This is going to be a motor with a big lump of steel on it, mounted on an eccentric. And you can possibly hear that bleeping now and complaining. So what have we got in here? Exactly what I said. So you've got a fairly beefy motor, to be honest. That's more than I'd expect. Let's just zoom you in. You've got a fairly beefy motor here, and as you can see, you've got a sort of eccentric. That's a big lump of brass, and you can see how far off centre that's mounted. So yeah, that's that bit. So I will just quickly... You've got a little bit of cord grip in here. Cord grip in here to stop that from pulling out. I guess if it's under your pillow, there is the risk that you could potentially yank that out of there. Let's just... this is all going wrong now. There's obviously a right and a wrong way to put this together. I spent the last half hour fighting with the Land Rover Freelander with something similar, so this is becoming a theme for today. You can watch me struggling to put this together. I might not leave this in. I mean, something that's going to be in your bed, there will be a... I really can't be asked for that now. Something that's going to be in your bed, there's going to be a reasonable level of safety in that. So, there. Leave that there. Right. So... Looking at this, we have our battery. We have a warning now because apparently that means that the vibrating pad is not connected. We can do a self-test like we can do with anyone. I noticed that we don't get an alarm out of this. I wouldn't imagine that this would not have an alarm. Also, unusually for something fairly new, that looks like a xenon strobe rather than a LED. So let's pull the power on this. Because this has potentially got a xenon strobe in, we need to be a little bit careful because there's probably caps in there. So we've got two screws there. that all we've got? No, of course there's not. There's one hidden. Is there one hidden under there? Maybe not. Feels like there's another one somewhere. Ah, there. So, oh, that's right, that's a microphone I just knocked. Is there another one up there? Yes, of course there is. I am not expecting this to actually have an ionisation chamber. I think we are missing part of this. No ionisation chamber in there. That is a xenon flash. That's nothing exciting. Just bits of moulded plastic. See if I can zoom you down a bit more. I don't think I can. Yes, I can. So we do have an honest to God, genuine xenon flash tube there. Right, I'm just going to pause you for a second. Right, those of you that have never worked with xenon flash, this may not be aware, but these things bite. So we just need to check. And yes, I've got 2 red probes on at the moment. That is nice, low, not worried about that. There's obviously a discharge resistor in there. Right, what's the easiest way to go next? How is this all held together? That odd square hole that we found in the back there, sorry, a bit glary, is actually the support for the xenon flash and the PCB. So I think if we lift that off and slide it forwards, everything comes out. This won't be going back together. So, wow. Other than the fact that that is horribly messy back there, that is just fluxy and horrible. Actually strikes me as quite overcomplicated for what it is. So, quick look round the board. I've got the wrong glasses on. Okay, so we have, come here, we're going to focus. We have our input here. That appears to be a filter arrangement. We have a 7810. I wasn't even aware they existed. Linear regulator here. Is that power input? That is something to do with power input. That coil, it's black on black, which no one likes. That coil and that MOSFET there are probably involved in the boost circuit to generate the high voltage. Where are we? The xenon tubes generally run 100 volts plus either end, and then we trigger them with a couple of kilovolts, which if you look down here, this tiny little coil here is used to generate that strike pulse. And you can see just wrapped around here the wire. Nothing really special on the top here. On the bottom again we've got more going on than I'd expect. I'm just trying to read. That is a pig. PIC 16 LF 1936. That's a new one on me. I've not come across that one before. Can we focus again, please? Thank you. So yes, and we've got some pins marked here. So this is obviously for the radio. Can we take the radio off? I believe we can. So this is an off-the-shelf radio module. We'll have a look at that in a second. We've got an aerial here. Ooh, we've got an aerial here. We've got our jack here for the pillow pad, and we've got a transistor in there. Just a bog standard, normal, run-of-the-mill transistor. Nothing special. Anything else we've got tucked up here on this cap? This will be the resistor for the trigger. So what that does is quite literally dumps the contents of this capacitor via that capacitor into the trigger coil, and then you get, I should imagine on something like this, it's probably still about 1 kilovolt. It's enough to make you wish you hadn't touched it. But if you're taking camera flashes apart, you need to be careful about these. But yeah, that's slightly more complicated than I thought, but I don't know if I'll be able to zoom this in enough. We can try. I think that's probably readable. We've got test points here which seem to imply that we've got SPI going up to this module here. So that is, what have we got? 0 supply PIC, MCLR, D ground, ICSP clock. So these here, oh, we've gone off side again. So these here are the in-system programming for the PIC. I could, in theory, suck the brains out of this and we could have a look at the program. There's not really much point, but there are an awful lot of test pads here. We've got SDO, SCK, IRQ, SDI and SS. So these here are SPI to the wireless module. And then what else have we got in here? Anything interesting? There are just so many test points on there. DLP plus, so that's the positive for the xenon strobe. They could really have cleaned this somewhat. D ground, digital ground. SW2EX, no idea what that would be. So they've put a reasonable amount of effort into making sure that this can be tested in a test fixture. So the way this will work is you'll have a jig, this goes in, the jig locks in with a bar or something similar, and you've got pogo pins underneath. I mean, we use the pogo pins ourselves, and then the whole thing can be tested in situ. And then we have this. So what do we have here? Let's bring this up again. Get a focus, please. So this is obviously a standalone module. S80760 revision 7. So we know this is an SPI radio straight away. We don't know anything about whether it's a transceiver, receiver. We've got a button on there which is the one that sticks out there. So that's the pairing function, I guess. So I'll have a look, see if I can find anything about this, and if I can, I will chuck it in the description down there. So yeah, so there we go, very quick one. There's really not much to that. I didn't expect there to be. There's no ionisation chamber in here, there's no CO detector, so that is obviously designed to be on the other end of that. So yeah, all of that can now be recycled. Take care.